Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Ryan from RP Smokehouse. I got a product I'm getting ready to try out, Royal Oak Charcoal's 100% charcoal pellets. They actually just came out to the market and they're a little bit hard to find at the moment, but I was able to get a hold of a bag. I'm really excited to try them out and see how they work out. Stay tuned. I'm really excited to have found some of these. They're in really high demand right now and not the easiest thing in the world to find, but luckily one of my local shops in town had just happened to have them in stock at the moment. I wanted to be sure to start with an empty hopper. I also fed all of the old pellets out, so I made sure the auger tube was empty, so that way the results weren't skewed. The first thing you really notice about these is how shiny and black they are, and they look totally different than any other pellet that I've ever seen before. The biggest thing I noticed as I was filling the hopper with these is that there is very little dust in the bag. I've had bags of other types of pellets that there's literally half a pound of sawdust in the bottom of the bag. That absolutely is not the case with these. It's just the pellets and nice and clean. You don't have to worry about sifting these when you go to pour them in. It's actually kind of refreshing. I'm running these today in my Camp Chef SG-24 Pellet grill that I started up in the way I normally do by setting it to high smoke. All of these pellets are about the same size, so I didn't notice any kind of problems with filling the fire pot or running through the auger. You know, sometimes you get some pellets that are different lengths that can get bound up, and that definitely didn't happen here. They also started smoking fairly quick. You know, as soon as they started hitting the hot rod, they were going pretty well. Once I got the temperature display on the screen, I noticed that these things actually increase temperature very quickly. A lot faster than I've noticed at any other type of pellet. One of my biggest questions with these is how they would respond since they're supposed to run at higher temperatures with my standard controller. This is not a PID controller, but once I got the temp, it stayed right between 220 and 230 the whole time. Since the grill was at the temp, I figured I might as well try it out with something simple, so I went with country style pork ribs. Nothing fancy here. I just started with a mustard binder. Mustard really doesn't add a flavor when you use it. It just kind of gives the rub something to stick to. You want to go fairly light with it, and I can tell you, as you can see in here, that it's a lot easier to do if you have two hands, but with trying to stick with a one clean hand, one dirty hand, it worked out this way, but it would probably work better if you used both hands. I used two different types of rubs on this batch. I used the Plowboy's Yardbird and Flying Swine's Slap Apple Bourbon. The Yardbird has a finer grind to it, so I like to put it down first and then follow up with the Slap Apple Bourbon, which has a heavier grind to it. Just helps with the layers of flavor. Now when I put these in, you notice I like to put them on the top rack. I do that with most meats unless I'm grilling. I do that because I like to have the thermal barrier between the meat and the fire pot. Plus, it lets the smoke engulf the meat a little bit more and kind of surround it a little bit better. I put these in at 275 degrees and let them sit there, absorb the smoke until they get to about 145 degrees. Now this is a very lean cut of meat, so I like to spritz it about once an hour using a 50-50 mixture of apple cider vinegar and water. Once I got the temp, I hit them with some Sticky Fingers Sweet Kentucky Bourbon and then let them sit for the glaze to tack. I really like the way that these things came out. They have that perfect mahogany color and just a little sheen, kind of let them pop. And these are supposed to be very low ash, and after about 4 hours, there really wasn't that much there, so I guess it kind of lives up to that. Now it's time to try these things on higher heat. So first things I like to do, I don't like to jump straight up to high, so I'd like to put it up to about 350 degrees, kind of see how it handles there and balances out. I really like how they don't really put off that much billowing smoke when they first starts moving up. And these things really, it balanced right at 357 degrees and it didn't move much from there. It stayed right within about a 5-degree difference. That's pretty impressive. Now it's time to crank this thing all the way up, and I figure I'll open a sliding grill just so we can see exactly what these things can bring it up to. So all the way up, and this thing hit right at 500 degrees on the dot, and it didn't waver. It stayed right there within 5 degrees. So my overall impression of these pellets is I really like them. It has just the right amount of that charcoal flavor that's kind of synonymous with backyard barbecue that everybody wants, but still has that set it and forget it of the pellet grill, where you can just kind of get that flavor without all the time and hassle. Is it going to replace your stick burner or your charcoal grill? No. But it does kind of give you that semblance of what everybody is looking for. So, if you get a chance, they're kind of hard to find around at this moment because they're just coming out. But I highly recommend them and give them a shot.